XRP is on the verge of breaking out. The consolidation phase is nearly over, and we're right on the edge of something big. We might have a tiny bit more ground to cover, but wow, we're so close. This is the moment where any day now you could wake up, check the XRP price chart, and see it skyrocketing in truly spectacular fashion. I hate to be the bearer of cautious news, but I need to flag something for you. Multiple analysts are still warning that XRP might take a dip before it rockets upward. We're talking about a potential drop to a key support level around $1.90 to $2 before it makes its big move. If that happens, it's likely the whole market, including Bitcoin, will feel the hit. Now, this isn't a guaranteed scenario. It's more of a serious possibility that many analysts are spotting in the chart. So while the conviction isn't sky high, it's definitely something to keep on your radar. Just a heads up before we dive in, if things shake up a bit before we see the upside, don't sweat it. It's no big deal and doesn't change the bigger picture. XRP is still on track to hit price discovery and absolutely blow minds. It's going to be incredible. But before we move on, let me be crystal clear. I don't have a financial background. This is not financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't buy or sell anything based on what I say or write. Right now, as I record this, it's Friday, June 13th. Yep, Friday the 13th, 2025. Spooky, right? XRP is sitting at $2.16, bouncing back after yesterday's rough drop. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is holding strong at $105,457. You've likely already heard about the cause behind all this. It's tied to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. There's military action unfolding, and while this channel isn't the place for those discussions, it's impossible to ignore the clear impact on the markets, which is why I'm bringing it up. Focusing solely on the market side of things, setting aside the devastating realities of war, these situations, while tragic, often present unique opportunities. Savvy market participants understand this dynamic all too well and know how to navigate it strategically. Here's an interesting take from Dom, the co-founder of ESA, who's building on the XRP ledger. With a background at Blackstone and Goldman Sachs, plus a Wharton degree under his belt. Dom knows his stuff. Last night, as tensions in the Middle East escalated, he shared a thoughtful perspective on crypto and market behavior. He wrote, "The conflict in the Middle East does not affect your crypto. The fundamentals and tech remain the same. Markets dip during geopolitical conflicts due to increased uncertainty, which markets hate. But history shows that these dips often become great buying opportunities," and he's got the data to back it up. Analysts are echoing this sentiment, emphasizing that while uncertainty may rattle markets in the short term, long-term investors often benefit from these moments. He said geopolitical events are just noise in the grand scheme of things. If you think fears of World War III will spell doom for crypto, think again. Let's look at the chart. Every red arrow marks a major global conflict since 2022, and yet the trend, crystal clear. Bitcoin doesn't flinch at geopolitical chaos. Sure, we see temporary dips as markets react to fear-driven headlines, but every world-ending event becomes nothing more than a small blip on the long-term trajectory. Take the Ukraine war, for instance. Bitcoin moved from 35K to 15K. The point is clear. Markets may stumble short-term, driven by fear and uncertainty. You might not immediately see how these events impact specific regions or the world at large, but eventually the storm passes. It always does. During the Ukraine war, Bitcoin skyrocketed from 35K to 105K. The market short-term volatility didn't matter in the big picture. This latest dip, just another blip on the radar. It's a flash in the pan, and its negative impact on the market will fade. Take it from Crypto Wizard. He's seen it all before. In April 2024, Bitcoin dropped 18% after clashes between Iran and Israel, only to soar 28% just 1.5 months later. In October 2024, it fell 10%, then rallied 62% within 2 months. So panic sell if you want, but history shows Bitcoin loves a comeback. In fact, we might not even have to wait that long. Plenty of analysts are betting on much higher price action, and soon. Some are so confident they're calling for a breakout in just days. Could this be the moment where Bitcoin starts ripping to the upside? Time will tell, but it sure feels like we're on the edge of something big. Chart analyst Bobby says it best: if you're rattled by the noise, crypto might not be for you. We're in a bull market, and everything happening right now is fueling the fire for higher prices ahead. Here's the simple strategy: buy when there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air, and sell when the market smells like roses. Translation: when things get overly euphoric and everyone's bullish, that's your cue to consider cashing out. This mindset is spot on. Now for the rest of this, get ready, because it's about 100% XRP talk from here. Let me dive in and break it down for you. This is from Crypto Insight UK, and he's sending out a warning. Brace yourselves, the market might dip a bit. And sure enough, it did. Of course, a real world event triggered the drop. But here's the kicker. We literally pinpointed it just before it happened. Now, you might say, you didn't predict the war or anything, and you'd be right. But isn't it curious how the charts can hint at something big brewing? We've been floating this idea for weeks. What comes first, the chart or the news? It's the kind of question that messes with your head over time. I've thought a lot about this, and here's my take. Sometimes the conditions for a particular outcome are just there. The charts show it, waiting for that real world nudge, a news event, a tiny spark to ignite it. I even shared this theory with Crypto Insight UK, telling him it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. And guess what? He agreed, at least with the concept. When it comes to this, it's all about personal opinion, but I'd say it's reasonable speculation. If something's ready to move, then yeah, it's likely to happen. We've seen this play out before, like with XRP. Remember when Gensler announced his resignation? That was back around November 20th or 21st. His announcement had nothing to do with XRP itself. We already suspected he'd be stepping down anyway with the upcoming change in administration. But as soon as the news hit, XRP's price soared. Why? Because it was primed. The conditions were already set. Sometimes all it takes is a random trigger to set things in motion. Here's the point I'm making, and it's something I've seen time and time again. Take this insight from Crypto Insight UK, for example. He states, as much as I'd love for this move to be done, I just can't see us getting this close to the liquidity without grabbing it. A fair warning that sub $2 XRP might still be on the table. But don't get it twisted. His long-term outlook hasn't changed. He's still firmly in the camp that expects double jit XRP prices, predicting a peak somewhere between $20 and $30 this market cycle. His caution stems from a pattern he's seen often. When charts like this play out, there's usually one last dip before the climb. So could he be right? Maybe. If that dip happens, don't be surprised if Bitcoin decides to join the party on its way down. Here's an interesting update from Chart Animals, a credible voice in crypto, posted just 6 or 7 hours ago. They've shared a Bitcoin chart with some intriguing insights. According to the post, the ideal scenario over the next week or so might see Bitcoin dipping as low as 102K in the short term. Interestingly, this shifts away from the mid 90K range they cautioned about a few weeks back. Still, there's a chance we could see Bitcoin dropping lower. You can bet that XRP is likely to dip with the market. It's practically a given at this point. While nothing is set in stone, the writing's on the wall. On the flip side, Credible Crypto predicts Bitcoin is gearing up for its final parabolic bull run, potentially hitting a peak around 150K. As for XRP, Credible Crypto and Crypto Insight UK are both in agreement, projecting a peak somewhere between $20 to $30. There's a heads up from chart analyst Steph on crypto. Another warning to keep on your radar. According to Steph, the XRP heat map is showing massive leverage around the $2.00 mark, which could mean a final flush is on the way. Now, he's not guaranteeing we'll see a drop to $2.00, but it's something to be aware of. I'm sharing this so if it does happen, you won't panic. It's not the end of the world or a sign we're diving into a bear market. This is just how crypto rolls, volatile and unpredictable. Here's a take from a chart analyst on Zoom, and he's on board too. His main focus, XRP snagging liquidity in the $2 range. However, if you pressed him on the lowest it could dip, he'd say $1.80 at most. Yeah, and that's really stretching it. So where does that leave us? You see the pattern forming here, right? I won't drag in every single analyst saying the same thing, but I wanted to set the stage. This scenario is absolutely possible. It could happen. But let's pivot to something a bit more exciting, shall we? XRP isn't just going to rise. It's going to skyrocket and blow minds. That's the reality we're looking at. Here's an interesting post from Crypto Insight UK, sharing insights from two of my favorites in the space, Julian Battelle and Raoul Pal. These guys are absolute powerhouses, smart, data-driven, and always ahead of the curve. They've been championing the idea that crypto closely follows global M2 liquidity, and the correlation there, honestly, it's insane. There's even a 10 to 12 week lag time, which makes it pretty convincing and, dare I say, likely that we could see Bitcoin explode upward either this month or July. Raoul Pal has floated a potential target of 140K for Bitcoin by July if it sticks to the M2 trend. Now think about what that means for alt season. If this plays out, we're looking at one seriously exciting action-packed summer for crypto. Historically, the fourth year in a crypto cycle tends to bring the heat, with summers packed full of price action and volatility. Unlike the other years, which often see boring sideways movement, the fourth year shakes things up. And guess what? That's where we are right now. Looking back at 2017 and 2021, it's clear the trend held strong. Big moves, big excitement, and now as we stand on the edge of another potential breakout. Julian and Raul are weighing in. A clip shared by Crypto Insight UK shows them discussing XRP and other alts, echoing my own thoughts. After this range, we could see an explosive move to the upside. Julian, a data-driven analyst with no bias, recently shared his thoughts on XRP's performance. Looking at the chart, he pointed out that after hitting its all-time high in January, XRP has been consolidating, hovering steadily above $2.00. His words, "This will explode at some point." Bold statement, right? But it makes sense. Long consolidations often lead to massive moves. As the saying goes, the wider the base, the higher the space. In other words, the longer it builds momentum, the bigger the breakout when it happens. Crypto Insight UK chimed in, predicting the next wave will catch people off guard with its speed. With Bitcoin dominance slipping, Ethereum's open interest unwinding, and XRP wrapping up its consolidation phase, the stage is set for a big move. It feels like the calm before the storm. Our first real mania season could be just around the corner. There's a warning in the air. XRP might dip sharply before skyrocketing to new highs. A brief drop, then an explosive rally. Seems like a fair prediction at this point. Will XRP tap into that liquidity and push closer to $2.00? Hard to say, but one thing's for sure, alt season is coming. Market cycles don't end quietly, and this one's shaping up to be memorable. Market cycles always end with a bang, not a whimper. Peaks happen when euphoria takes over, but here we are. Bitcoin soaring past 100K, XRP above $2.00, and no one's buzzing. Retail isn't piling in like crazy. That's not how cycles end, folks. This market isn't overheated. It's calm, almost eerily so at these price levels. But don't be fooled. The heat is coming. A bubble will form. It'll inflate to absurd heights. And then, yes, it'll pop. That's how this game works. And honestly, I'm here for it. I want the bubble. I want the froth, the chaos, the ridiculous, over the top price madness. Why? Because that's my cue to sell. When things get wild and prices hit insane highs, that's when I'll be ready. And make no mistake, folks, it's coming. Here's an update from the blockchain backer. He's revisiting familiar territory discussed for months now, just navigating through it bit by bit. This morning, he shared a post referencing one of his older updates from May 21st, still relevant today. In it, he emphasized the need to stay cautious, noting that while he remains bullish overall, corrections are still on the table. And guess what? Some of those corrections have started playing out. He's sticking to his prediction of Bitcoin hitting a peak around 135K this cycle and sees XRP potentially breaking past $10.00. He's holding firm on those calls, but acknowledges we might be in for a bit more sideways action before the next big move. It might dip a bit, sure, but here's the thing. The blockchain backer dropped an interesting take in his latest video, and it really stood out to me because it's something I've been talking about for days now. He actually thinks the market could start moving before summer wraps up. Bold, right? Typically, markets don't heat up until summer's over. That's just how it goes most years. But according to him, we won't have to wait that long this time around. What's even more fascinating is that I've seen a few other analysts echoing the exact same sentiment. I shared this on my channel because the data doesn't lie. In the fourth year of a cycle, we often see some exciting price action. Now, while it's not a guarantee that history will repeat itself, it does have a habit of rhyming, and that's what makes this so intriguing. What's even more interesting is hearing the blockchain backer predict that things could heat up before summer's end. Time will tell, but I can't help feeling a buzz of anticipation right now. Here's an exciting update from XRPunky. Using the XRP daily chart, they point out that XRP is nearing the apex of a massive 6-month accumulation triangle. If you've been holding off on grabbing more XRP, this might not be the time to wait for lower prices. A massive breakout could be just days away with a technical target of $13.00. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Any day now, we could wake up to an explosive move. Look closely at the trend lines. Notice how they converge toward the apex. It's common to see a breakout well before reaching that final point, and we're right on the edge. So the big question is, will it break up or down? Personally, I'm betting on the upside. Why? Simple. We're in a bull market and the odds are in favor of it. Sometimes it's just about reading the room. And speaking of reading the charts, I've been seeing the same buzz from all the chart enthusiasts out there. Here's one example. XRP fans, take note. The XRP/USD daily chart shows a falling wedge breakout with a retest. The prediction? An explosive breakout in the coming days with a minimum target of $10 based on Fibonacci retracements. Destination? Mars. Why does this keep showing up? Honestly, who knows for sure? It might happen in the next few days or maybe not. Time will tell, but one thing's certain, it's on its way. No one can predict the exact moment with total accuracy, but if we look at past trends, these ranges make a lot of sense. It's absolutely fair to point that out. Completely fair, no doubt about it. Here's an interesting take from chart analyst Eager and Crypto on the XRP dominance chart. He points out something worth watching. The Fibonacci 0.5 level, which has historically been a major resistance point for XRP dominance. Looking back, this level acted as a critical barrier in October 2019 and November 2020, marking the start of bear markets during those cycles. Fast forward to January and March 2025, and once again, the Fib 0.5 level proved to be a tough ceiling to break. Eager and Crypto uses a great analogy here. Think of resistance like knocking on a door. The more you knock, the higher the chances it opens, assuming, of course, there's someone home to let you in. With XRP dominance sitting at just 3.87% when this was posted, it's worth wondering, will persistence finally pay off? Or is this door staying shut for now? As the number of tests on a resistance or support level grows, so does the chance of a breakout. And now XRP dominance has knocked on this macro door 4 times. Could the 5th be the charm? We're looking at a bullish bull flag here with a potential move to 27% dominance. Sounds exciting, right? Maybe. While I won't say it's impossible for dominance to hit 27%, I'll admit I'm a bit skeptical. Not because I doubt XRP's potential, it's likely to perform incredibly well, but because that number isn't far off from its 2017-2018 peak of 33% during the last bull run. Back then, there were only about 1,600 coins in existence. These days, we're talking tens of thousands of coins out there, literally. Even if you set aside all the memes, NFTs, and novelty tokens, the sheer number of cryptocurrencies is staggering. So while I firmly believe XRP could outperform in dollar value, capturing a massive slice of the market is a whole different game. Honestly, I'm skeptical. Could it happen? Sure. Would it blow my mind? Absolutely. Some analysts suggest XRP might snag anywhere from 12 to 15% of the market share, and if that becomes reality, buckle up. Picture this, a skyrocketing total crypto market cap at its peak, bigger than anything we've seen. Imagine this. Having 15% of a much larger pie is far better than holding 33% of a much smaller one, like what we saw back in 2017 and 2018. The potential here isn't just better, it's leagues ahead. Now, picture this. If XRP hits $27 with a 27% market dominance, what does that mean for the bigger picture? The total crypto market cap could skyrocket to 5.5 trillion. And honestly, that level isn't just possible. It's within reach. It could even climb higher. Toward the end of his post, he throws out a bold figure. XRP's market cap hitting an astonishing 1.485 trillion. Let me be clear. I don't make predictions or claim to know the future. That's just not my style. But could it happen? Absolutely. At that market cap, XRP could hit around $25.00. And honestly, the more money that flows into the space, the more likely it becomes. This isn't some far-fetched idea. It's within the realm of possibility. I'd love to see it happen. Now, I'll admit, I tend to lean on the conservative side. My expectations aren't sky high, but even I can acknowledge the potential for something like this. It's fair to say we're at a pivotal moment. XRP feels like it's at a breaking point, whether that's today, next week, a month from now, or later this summer. The timing doesn't matter. What matters is that we're in that moment, this moment. It's just a tiny blip when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, say a decade from now. Sure, it feels massive right now, like it'll never end, but it will. And when it does, something incredible is going to emerge. That's what I'm banking on, no doubt about it. We're in this together. And trust me, I'm not going anywhere. But hey, let me be clear. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't go buying or selling anything just because I said something. Seriously, that would be a terrible, terrible idea.